Well, one thing about flying on performing days is you don't know if, you're not guaranteed to make it. And this show got changed a little because our start time suddenly went from 12 to 11 a.m. And that would have been fine for most people, but I already had a flight booked that was going to land me at 10:15. So I thought, okay, well, there's nothing I could do. The flight's been booked for months, so I couldn't do anything about it. So I got on the plane. They took off on time, no upgrade because there was a lot of people ahead of me. And I actually had a great conversation with the lady next to me almost the entire flight, which was cool. But I could tell by the end, my voice was getting a little tired. And even on the car ride, the next 45 minutes, talking to the fellow actor in the car. So yeah, by the time I got to the show, I could kind of feel like, oh man, my voice is weird. If you talk all the time, it's not a problem. You're used to it, but it's sort of like using a muscle that never gets used that much. So the show was fine, but afterwards we did a read through for another show, and I could barely get through that. Yeah, so anyway, the plane took off on time, and usually they book extra time, so when you're flying, you land early, but not really because they knew it. But this time they said, oh, it'll be 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it was actually more than that. And it's like, how did this happen? How did we usually just I've never had it. It usually never goes over 2 hours at all, unless it's one of those like prop planes, which they still use once in a while. So I was like, okay. And then even worse, we got landed and got to the gate, and they didn't have a gate agent ready because they had to send them to a different gate. So that was another 15 minutes lost. So I'm kind of texting. I'm not panicking because there's nothing I could do. They'll wait or start without me, but pretty much have to wait. Then I got finally picked up, and there was a kind of a fortuitous incident. As soon as I got through the baggage area and walked out the front doors, the doors opened, and I looked in there, and there was the car. Tony's car was like right there, like straight in front. It was just so cool because there's no lost time there. And he'd been doing laps. He'd like kind of come and stop for a little bit and then have to go. So I just caught it at the right time. So that was just really a nice little blessing there. So we drove all the way over there and got there, and I got changed, and thinking I'd have to go on stage right away. And no, it ended up being probably 30 minutes before actually needing to go on. So it worked out okay. And for this show, it was different because we normally have a 15-minute scene, a break for 15 minutes, so you have time to go over the lines between scenes. Now this was actually 1, 2, 3 scenes all put together, so 45 minutes straight of acting, then a break, and then the final scene. So that was challenging too, but luckily it's a show I've done many, many years, many, many times, so that was fun. All right, I'm in the hotel now. I'm gonna get ready to go out and do some running. Wow, just surreal.